Welcome back to ATL Day Ones with Jarvis and Tenitra. We want to say thank you guys for liking and subscribing to our YouTube channel. This is Lock On Sports Atlanta. We have 3 shows: Hitting Hard with John Chuckery, A to Z with Mark Zeno, and of course ATL Day Ones with Jarvis, myself, and Tenitra. We really appreciate you guys because we are up over 4,000 subscribers. Woo! That is a big accomplishment. We definitely don't take that for granted for what you guys have been doing. And if you have not subscribed, welcome. And go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well. We're talking to you today about one of the things that I think that kind of stood out to me, T, was that, of course, the Atlanta Falcons are getting ready to take on the Cleveland Browns. And as we get closer to Friday, we will definitely give a big preview, do a deep dive into what that matchup looks like. But I think that one thing I wanted to kind of point out and talk to you about and get your opinion on is the fact that in the early games, one of the early games, it was the Panthers and taking on the New Orleans Saints. And one thing that here in Atlanta we can figure out that, hey, the Falcons had a legitimate shot of beating the Saints. I think that's safe to say, right? And I think that they did not look that well against the Carolina Panthers, who coming into the season, everybody pretty much knew more than likely the Panthers were going to be probably the worst team in a division. And I think that later on when you saw the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going up against the Packers, you were just like, all right, this is a division that people thought that it was going to be dominated by the Bucs and they were going to be the guys in the division, and more than likely Tom was going to pull off another division title. Division title at the end of the season. But I think when you take a look at these teams, I believe that Falcons have a legitimate shot at being the team to make it at some point start being a formidable opponent, or teams have to start really taking a look at and start being aware of as they get ready to dive into that division play.
Okay, I'm so glad that you set it up that way, saying that they would be formidable opponents that you have to take note of, because I heard somebody have the audacity and unmitigated gall to ask if this team is a playoff team. Are you foolish?
Yes,
is something wrong with you?
No.
Are you having issues? Because
too early for that.
Nobody believes that that's the case, at least not now. Now, catch me in the middle of the season if some things have gone sideways with the Bucs and or the Saints. That's just the reality of it, because if we're real about it, the Bucs look like they've looked the last few weeks because they are injury riddled. The Saints look like they look because, keeping it real, they have injury issues as well. So there's still quite a divide, if you will, between those top two and the Falcons. However, and definitely Falcons from the Panthers, like that's not even a conversation. But the Falcons, yes, should absolutely be taken seriously, because the other piece is this. Yes, the Bucs are injured. Yes, the Saints are injured. But if you think about it, the Falcons the Falcons had a few issues as well. I mean, will they get Damian Williams for one play, just as an example? And all of a sudden your running back room is turned upside down as far as your 1-2 punch. So the Falcons have had their issues to contend with as well. We also know Elijah Wilkinson, just a little bit of something there last week, although he's listed on the depth chart in the first spot this week. So we're comfortable and believing he's going to, get out on the field. But the point I'm making is this. Yes, I absolutely think that the Falcons, even if the Bucs were healthy and even if the Saints were healthy, are a formidable opponent, because they have competed in these first few weeks. And I believe they're only going to get better. I believe that in every phase of the game. I believe that the Falcons all you had to do, Jarvis, was get over the hump and get that one win so that you could boost your own confidence, and then you'll sail from there.
And I love the way you put that, because when you're talking about boosting the confidence, because like you want to be able to justify, Arthur Smith's vision and what he wants this team to look like. And we know, just like you mentioned, competitive. You talked about, being able to, establish yourself and offensively, like the Falcons are the highest scoring offense in the division. You know what I'm saying? They've put up 80 points this year, and then the
Yes.
Saints and the Bucks are bringing up the rear as far as
Mm-hmm.
scoring in the division as well. So those are some of the things that, like you said, there are some real from a roster build standpoint coming
Yeah.
into the season. Saints Bucks were hands down better.
Yes.
But as the season played out, you talking about injuries coming into play, and then the Falcons
Mm-hmm.
having an injury to Damian Williams. But I can make a case for, hey, that's good. Tyler Algier, come on
Step
up,
up.
come on down. You know what I'm saying? So I think all of those things, as these injuries play out, I think that this is definitely something to keep an eye on as far as how the Falcons stack up against the NFC South. And I think that other teams in the division need to be on notice because the Falcons are looking for consistency, and it seems like they found it with the style of play that Arthur Smith wants to play with. Another thing that I have to bring up to you is the fact that, all the conversations have been about Kyle Pitts, Drake London, and what these guys can do for the offense. Kyle Pitts not getting enough targets, but there's a certain guy that got acknowledged in the NFL, got Offensive Player of the Week. Our guy, CP, Cordarrelle Patterson, for all you people and all my people up in Dunwoody, he got honored this week for Offensive Player of the Week. Obviously, had a huge game against, a huge game last week, and you understand that this is part of what Arthur Smith wants to do. But, like I mentioned, with all the attention towards Kyle Pitts and Drake London, is Cordarrelle Patterson that guy? Is he the guy that's going to make or ascend the Falcons into NFC South winning conversations? Not no playoffs, but conversations about being, contenders within the division.
Yes, I believe wholeheartedly he is, because there's an expectation, whether it's Marcus Mariota or Desmond Ridder under center, that the Falcons have the weapons in the wide receiver room, in the tight end room, to have a passing game that flourishes, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
what you saw out of Marcus Mariota with 229 passing yards, nothing against him, but a lot of that is because your receivers are just who they are. Your tight end is just who he is. So that's
Yes.
the reality. But then when you look over at the run game, that's a little bit different. In order for you to both be successful in your passing game and your run game, you have to establish the run. You have to at least keep teams honest. You can't have them thinking what they did in the years past. Oh, well, the Falcons, they'll just pass. And when they get behind by one or two scores, they'll really just start to pass. Once you become that one-dimensional, man, a DC can feast on you. But when you have someone like Cordarrelle Patterson, who can not only give you a run game and is a bruising runner, by the way, because in addition to him getting NFC Offensive Player of the Week, I saw a tweet that the Falcons put out where there's an award. I think it's like the Good Morning Football Award on NFL Network, something like the Bloody Crusty Bruiser Award, and he got that too because of his running style. Right. And that's just who he is. Like, you kind of saw people low key, you kind of saw defenders low key kind of get out of his way after a while, especially in those first two games when he was loaded up to 20 plus carries. The importance of that is this: get yourself a run game, you can set a play action pass. That's arguably where Marcus Mariota seems to be pretty darn comfortable. So give him that opportunity, and then once you think the CP's done everything that he can on the ground, he's being a great passer out of the backfield. So when you think about 153 yards out of one player, and the team had 386 yards of offense total, to me, as CP goes, truly is as this team goes.
And we know that's where Arthur Smith wants to go. Right now, currently, the Falcons have the third leading rusher in the entirety of the NFL. So let that sink in. T, yes. I know that there are some things that, when you talk about, celebrating anniversaries, I think that this anniversary for 25 years of this particular movie is something worth talking about. But before we do that, T, tell the folks about what's going on at Coffee AM.
Yeah, I certainly today wish that I was a coffee drinker. And we'll talk to you more about that in For the Culture to tell you why. But if you are a coffee drinker and you're feeling like I am today, then Coffee AM is the perfect remedy for you. Why? Because it's fresh. And so who doesn't want to drink a fresh batch of coffee from the #1 small batch roaster in the country and a company that's right in your backyard. That's like a win-win. So you think about it, whether you're like me, who went too hard with the ATL Sports Chicks last night and then went down the rabbit hole on Instagram recapping what I did with the Sports Chicks last night, then you need Coffee AM. Or if you're like me this morning and you over-talked yourself at the Hawks meet and greet last night, then you probably need the green teas that Coffee AM offers. Or if you just want to say both to the Sports Chicks and to the Hawks, thank you for everything you've done for making this a grand Tuesday. Send them a gift set. Where do you get all that? coffeeam.com/locked on. And if it's your first order with Coffee AM, you can get it for 15% off. Who wouldn't do that for coffee where you know this company goes all across the world to get you the freshest ingredients for the coffee that once you actually order it on that day or not far from it, they are roasting it. So again, coffeeam.com/locked on. Get yourself 15% off your first order. I'm going to enjoy some tea. You guys enjoy the coffee for me. And we'll be back on the other side with For the Culture.